It's James.
James, I'm putting out. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. Sorry about that. We're going to do some cheetah, everybody. That's very exciting. Righty. Now, as far as I know, they just should be through the open area here.
Makes sense. Putting out of the gone. Full static. Lock. Leaving hand please. Takes unlock. James, thank you.
Oh, this is wonderful. And I don't think there's anyone behind us, which means we will probably be able to spend an extended period with them. So there's an open area down through here. I think they're just inside there. There's an elephant. Elephant's going to have to wait. You've seen some elephants. Can you see the elephant there, David? It is just eating some leafies. I'm too excited to stop, I'm afraid. There is the elephant, eating quietly under the tree. Oh, and there's another one and another one there. All right, in the meantime, we should be right near there, I think. But while I get in there, let's go back to Brent.
So we're still with the Ellies, and they've just started moving now. Just trying to get us into a spot. Hello, oily funks. Sorry, don't get upset with me. Okay. So the Ellies are moving off. We're going to try to keep with them. Morning, Aaron, the man from the land of the long white cloud. I'm surprised you're not watching Super Rugby at the moment, Aaron. Well, I think it actually starts in a little bit. But Aaron would like to know, how much do I miss spending time with Ellies when I'm away? Well, when you see little gorgeous creatures like that one, a lot. And they definitely do sort of calm me. Elephants, and I'm a very sort of hyperactive person, and Ellies do definitely have a huge calming effect, and I do miss them. But fortunately, even when I'm not at work, normally I do live in the bush, so I get to spend a lot of time with wild animals even when I'm not working, which is wonderful. And here we've got the Ellies in their teak farm. As I was saying, they tend to manicure these round-leaf teak to the ideal eating height. And you can just see all the little bushes in front of them have been kept that height by elephants. There we go, that's the round-leaf teak, Pterocarpus rotundifolia. You can see very round leaves. So Elaine would like to know, since the accident that's causing me to have all these hip issues 2 years ago, do elephants make me nervous? Not at all, Elaine. It was a complete fluke a thing, and it wasn't the elephant's fault. It wasn't my fault. It was just one of those things that happens. But so, no, Ellies don't make me nervous at all. But Elaine, we're going to leave the elephants now and go to something I'm sure everyone is very excited to see. And it's a cat of the spotted variety.
Look, everybody, it's 2 cheetah. Now, Notebook Girl, I believe these are your first ever cheetah. Well, welcome to it. Aren't they wonderful? 2 males, adults, and the only other sort of semi-social cats that there are in the world. They'll be brothers, most likely. And we'll go a little bit closer just now. I just wanted to stop here as a sort of moment of discovery first and get an idea of them. Isn't that great? Oh, that's fantastic. And as I said, Notebook Girl, your first cheetah, which is marvelous. Laura, you ask a very valid question all the way from Alabama. You say, do cheetah ever jump on cars here like they do in the Masai Mara? Laura, they don't. They don't have to. They have a lot of cover, and they also can get vantage from the termite mounds. The reason they do it there, I think, is for vantage points. We also don't see them nearly as commonly here, and so they're not quite as habituated to the vehicles as they are over there. Apart from jumping on the cars quite often to get vantage points over the wide plains there, they also, of course, use those vehicles for shade quite a lot. Now, while it might be an advantage for a cheetah to get into or to jump up onto a car in this particular area, because there is a plain here, in most parts of this ecosystem, it's largely woodland. And so for them to jump up on a car is just going to provide them with a slightly higher view of a wall of trees. I'm going to move slightly. I'm slightly dissatisfied with the position that we're in now. These look like very, very fat bellies, everyone. Oh, how's that, David? Don't say I'll never do nothing for you. I hear. Shannon, you want to know what I would do if one of these cheetah jumped on the car? Well, Shannon, I'd probably squeal like a small child to start with. And then I might become quite excited. It would depend on the cheetah's intention. Were the cheetah to find me something sort of delicious to eat, then I imagine I would be totally terrified beyond my wits, but I think I would just be excited. I have viewed them on foot before, and they are generally very confiding. This is fantastic, isn't it? They are so fat. They've had a very nice meal, clearly. Now let's just reverse and we'll get them in the light. How's that? This is fantastic. They are starting to head south now towards Mala Mala. Look how tall they are. They're much taller than leopards. Now, while I move, and you want to know how it is you can judge their age. I'm so inexperienced with cheetah, I don't actually know, other than for condition. So, like with lions and leopards, their nose colour and their skin condition and all that sort of thing, you can tell. But with these guys, I don't actually know. I don't know how long we're going to be able to be here, just in case they do cross, and I know that there are now one or two others who want to get into the sighting. There you are, Davy. Isn't that fantastic? And Margaret, you ask a very good question. Do cheetah climb trees in the same way that leopard do? No, they don't. But they do climb a little bit. So if a tree has got sort of a slope on it, for example, they can run up that, but they don't have the claws in the same way that a leopard has claws. So for example, Dave, yeah, that tree that this cheetah's going past now, look, Dave, on the tree there, just sharpening the claws and marking territory. That is just brilliant. See, spraying, marking territory. Now watch, onto the log, Dave. How fantastic is that, everyone? You don't see that every day. And this is the kind of tree that a cheetah will climb. Well, watch out, buddy. Your brother might just wet your face there by mistake. This is just fantastic, eh? Chaps, you don't see this every day. This really is spectacular. And Anna-Marie, you say you want to know if there are any others around here because we see these two males quite a lot. Anna-Marie, we've seen tracks of a female, but this is the sort of dominant coalition of the area. Now, by dominant, I don't mean they're not. By dominant, I don't mean dominant like a male lion gets dominant. They're dominant in so much as there aren't any other male cheetah around the place. But they will move, and this territorial marking that they're doing is very much temporary. So they don't often. They won't sort of mark territory in a permanent way, in the same way that a lion will. So it's possible that others might come into this area, but these guys are the territorial males. This is just fantastic. Look, marking territory now. Don't know which one to look at. And Angel Lady, you make exactly the correct comment. You say their heads are so tiny. They are tiny. And they're tiny for a very good reason. They're tiny, Angel Lady, because they are so very specially adapted to not being, at least for speed. And that small head is an adaptation for that. It means that the jaw can be slightly smaller. And for the jaw to be smaller, it means that they carry less weight, they can be faster. Isn't this brilliant? Oh, two cheetah walking across the open clearing. So, unlike with a leopard, for example, everybody, you've got a situation where the leopard's got it's got a massive head because it's got much bigger jaw muscles, but that does inevitably make it slower. It's unable. The cheetah is completely over-specialized for speed, whereas a leopard is specialized for kind of stalking and that sort of thing. And so you find this very small head with much smaller canines, a much bigger nasal cavity, but it is just simply part of the fact that they are adapted for speed. Curious one. I don't know the answer to your question. You want to know if their scent marking smells still like buttered popcorn. I don't know, curious one. I haven't smelt it. We can go back towards those trees just now and have a whiff, if we like. This is too wonderful. And Zahir, you say you've never seen cheetah marking like that. Well, Zahir, that's not uncommon. It's simply because they just don't do it very often, and they don't mark that often because they are temporarily territorial. So in the absence of other predators giving them trouble, they will be territorial. But if other predators give them trouble, if there's too much lion pressure, if there's too much leopard pressure or hyena pressure, then you'll find that these cheetah will not mark. Sorry, I'm just going to stop here for a second. I think this might be the best spot. Oh, I think there's a termite mound there. Dave, let's go and head around there. I think they're going to go onto the termite mound. Tammy, you want to know if cheetah are anything like house cats? Now that might seem like an odd question, but they actually are. Not entirely unlike house cats in that they purr, which is very unusual, of course, for a big cat, and they will domesticate. Actually domesticate quite nicely, just like a house cat will domesticate. And Genghis Khan, of course, famously had a stable of cheetah at one stage that he used as hunting dogs. You can believe it. Just move a little bit further forward. Once they cross this road, everyone, that's it, I'm afraid. And Ergag, you want to know if their scat is as smelly as lion scat. Sorry, I've just got to get out of the way so these guys behind us can have a view. Ergag, I couldn't begin to tell you, I'm afraid. I don't know if they've got smelly scat or not. We'll go back to that tree though just now and we'll actually have a smell of their urine and their scat. Yeah, I'm afraid I think they're going to cross south now. Yep. Oh, that's interesting. Am I right? Got a misconception? Yeah, I can get on. And you want to know if female cheetah is solitary, and female cheetah are, yes, generally solitary in the same way that leopards are, but they're not quite as defensive over their territories. Like I say, in the absence of pressure from other predators, they tend to be very unterritorial. At least when there is pressure from other predators, they tend to be unterritorial. Now I just need to find out, everybody, if Mike needs to make his way in here, or where he is. No, in fact, I don't have to, I don't think. That's it, they're going on to Mala Mala. Let's get one last view. We'll try and get sort of round to the front of them. He doesn't like the look of Dave on the back there, everyone. Sorry, Dave, I know the angle's not great. What a treat. What an absolute treat. Yes, and they probably are, Louise makes a good point, Dave, they're probably afraid of your stomach rumbling.
I would be too.
So that's it, I'm afraid, everyone. What an incredible, incredible treat. I suppose we can follow them while they're in the fire break here. And they seem to be heading largely towards the south. Now let's maybe move a little bit further along. Dave, with the super pop zoom, can probably get a look. Now that actually might be okay. Darby, you might get something there. Gone to sleep. Perfect. Long lens, ideal. Mike, do you copy Mike? I'm just going to call Mike and see if he can still get into the sighting. Of course, my radio is so defective. Mike, I can't copy you. I'm not sure if you can copy me. These animals have gone static on the firebreak area. You've got good visual from the southern boundary if you are still interested, and there are only 2 stations here. Poor guy, he's probably trying to talk to us. I'm afraid I just cannot copy him. Dave, shall I go forward? Let me go forward slightly, then we can get those bushes out of their faces. Who doesn't want to see cheetah with bushes in front of their faces? So they're now sitting, everybody, probably about 60 meters from, 50 meters from us, which is about 150 feet. A bit more. For you, David, anything?
And right there. Thank you.
This is fantastic. I think we'll sit right here with them. I don't think there's any need for us to go anywhere. Brilliant. I'm just quickly going to try and get hold of Mike on the radio because I know that he wanted to come and see them and he probably thinks they've gone south. While I do that, let's go across to Brent and get an update from him. We'll stay right here. If the cheetah move, we'll come across immediately.
Well, there is a large warthog behind the bush. It just... Oh, there's another one coming out into the open. Let's wait for that. There we go. Hello, Piggy. So there's a very big male, but he's moved off into the thicket. And we can see that's a female. Now, like impala and wildebeest, warthog are one of the few animals that has a rutting season. And unlike impala and wildebeest, male warthog have 2 different ways of securing mating rights. So the one is that they will defend a group of females. Now, females live in related groups, so it can often be a mother and her daughters, and a male warthog will defend those females. Or they defend access to either water or food sources. So very interesting, and it's one of the few animals that does both. So if we look at most animals, like, an impala defends a group of females rather than a resource, whereas a wildebeest defends a resource. So a nice... I don't know if you guys heard that. Oh, we've got 2 bushshrikes calling here. We've got a grey-headed bushshrike as well as an orange-breasted bushshrike. Now, there's this gardenia off to the right here. The bushshrikes are sitting in there. Both are incredibly beautiful birds. And I think we're going to have to cheat to get one to come have a look at us. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cheat. I'm going to get my app out and I'm going to play the call. So what that will mean is the bushshrike will expect that there's another male in competition and hopefully pop out. And they are one of the more difficult birds to see on camera. think so. There's a bird hopping around. So, let's try. So what we're hoping is this will draw the bushshrike out into the open. Doesn't look like he's taking the bait. Let's try the other bushshrike that was here. Coffee, tea or me? Coffee, tea or me? There we go, there we go. Oh, he jumped. He came out into the open for a second. If you come out a bit, Andre. Oh, there we go. It's unfortunately decided it's not the bravest male, and instead of coming to challenge, it's flown away. But we're going to sit here and we're going to try get these birds out. But while we do that, let's go. Oh, there, quickly, sorry. Oh, you can just see that flash of color through the gap there. So we'll work on getting the bush, and there's an orange-breasted bushrack. We'll work on getting the bushrack out of the bush. But while we do that, let's go back to James and those cheetah.
No, it's not going to be any better.
Right, sorry about the high lift jack masking the cheetahs there. I think I'm just going to sneak slightly back. This is a difficult one. I think Corvus has got an arrangement there with Mala, so he can go there. Of course, we are unfortunately not in the same position. There we go. There we did go. There we go. And I think he's actually just realized. And so now he's pulling out. What a treat for everybody, hey? To spend time with these chaps. Just very special indeed. I will move again once he's out. Môre? Ja, baie goed. Nee, met jou?
Ekskuus hoor, ek
Ja.
was nooit hier nie. Ek weet nie waar is die grens nie.
Ek dink is hierdie pad.
Ja. Jy laat ons liewer veilig speel.
Ja. It's quarantine, yeah.
Dankie man.
Okay,
Goed,
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good morning. Let me just sneak a little bit forward. How's that, Dave? So, notebook girl, I'm just going to move very slowly because I can only move very slightly, otherwise the picture will jump. You say, why do they move with their mouths open? I think like with most cats and with most carnivores, most animals, with most carnivores, much of the oxygen that they use comes in through the mouth. I think that's all it is. I don't think there's any other reason. I mean, it's a bit of panting, it's starting to get quite warm, but I don't think they move necessarily with their mouths more open than any other carnivore does. But what is interesting, Notebook Girl, is that they have a much enlarged nasal cavity compared with other animals. And the reason for that, sorry, the game drive radio just went in my ear there. The reason for that is that they need to inhale a huge amount of oxygen after a chase. So they can breathe through their mouths while they're chasing at that tremendous speed. And then once they catch their prey, they're not able to overpower it in the same way that a leopard or a lion can by biting through the back of the neck. They have to get it into that chokehold and clamp their jaws around the windpipe until basically they've suffocated their prey. Now, obviously if they do that, they can't breathe through their mouths as efficiently, and if you've expended as much energy as they have through a chase, running at 60 miles an hour, 100 kilometers an hour over a distance of probably about a quarter of a mile, the body is totally starved of oxygen. It goes into this kind of anaerobic respiration where lactic acid is produced and you've got to suck in oxygen. And so they've got this tremendously enlarged nasal cavity that allows them to do that while they have the mouth clamped over the windpipe of whatever it is they're trying to strangle. So that's why they've got a relatively big nose and relatively small top canines. And Elaine, you say even though these chaps are very full-bellied, if they had the chance, I think that they would try and catch something else? Elaine, certainly most of the cats would do that. I think cheetah are no different. I think they might be slightly more reticent than something like a leopard, which is far more opportunistic and is also able to stash its prey, remember. A leopard, if it's full like this, can kill a male impala, drag it up a tree, leave it there and know that it will be totally safe. Whereas a cheetah can't do that. And so they might be a little bit more reticent. I also think that where a leopard is a short burst hunter, a stalk hunter, which while requiring tremendous skill doesn't require nearly as much energy, I think you'll find that if these fat-bellied cheetah had to try and sort of chase an impala across the plains now, I think they'd really struggle. So while yes, I think they will be opportunistic, I think that their window of opportunity is perhaps narrower on account of the fact that they need more energy and they cannot protect their kills from scavengers anything like the other animals can. It's turned into just the most gorgeous, gorgeous day. Those clouds have burned away. And Janet, sorry, excuse the moving picture, that's me just shifting my weight. Janet, you say you wish leopard brothers would stay together. I know exactly what you mean. They're such a joy when they are together until they're about a year old, and then they start to kind of drift apart. And yes, I know exactly what you mean. It would be so wonderful to see Djuma in quarantine stalking the woodlands of Cheetah Plains or quarantine clearings. Unfortunately, it's just not how it goes with leopards. And I think it's very interesting that only male cheetah form these coalitions, the females don't. Mercedes, you want to know how many male cheetah would travel together, how many would form a coalition. Mercedes, I don't know the exact answer to that. I've certainly seen records of 4 or so in a coalition. They will almost certainly be litter mates, though, from the same mother. So that, I guess, precludes there being any greater number than 4. You know, a cheetah can potentially have 6 cubs, but it's highly, highly unlikely. And that any of them would survive, or that all of them would survive, was even more unlikely. And then if she was to have 4 and all of them were to be males, well, the chances of that, of course, would be 1 in 2 times 4. So what's that, David? Remember your maths, that's a 1 in 16 chance. No, it's not, it's a 1 in 8 chance. No, it's not. Is it? Is the probability added or multiplied? Anyway, it's very unlikely regardless. And it's the 1 in 8 chance, basically, that they'd all be males. And so, you know, for there to be more than 2 in a coalition is highly unlikely. They would have to be litter mates if they were in a coalition. I don't think, as far as I'm aware, male cheetah that are unrelated do not join up with each other. Nice one from you, Mobile Paddy. You're wondering if cheetah compete for mating rights. Mobile Paddy, as far as I'm aware, there is no alpha so much in this group, but I think they can have conflict. In fact, I'm pretty sure they do have conflict over mating rights, probably more so than lions do. I'm not You know, I've never seen it myself. We see cheetah so rarely in this area that I couldn't tell you for sure. But I've certainly read of cheetah males having a fight over a girl, and well, you know, in the mammal kingdom, brothers fighting over ladies is just not uncommon, is it? That was a fly. Wonderful Twitter handle, certainly one of my new favourites, Positive Squirrel. You want to know if cheetah sleep as much as leopards and lions? I think you probably find they do, yeah. Well, they're largely crepuscular hunters, whereas leopards and lions are probably more largely nocturnal hunters. I think these chaps do sleep a lot in the middle of the day. I don't think we'll find them here necessarily this afternoon. I think they might move slightly, but I think they sleep a huge amount during the night. They will hide themselves in the night when the leopards and lions are moving. You see, their diet is exactly the same as that of leopards and lions. It's probably slightly less calcium, less bone, because as we saw with that incredible, nice link with that carcass we saw this morning, they don't eat the bones. And so while their nutrition is probably slightly different from those of leopards and lions, which have much stronger jaws and are therefore able to crunch more of the bones, their diet's exactly the same. And so physiologically, I can't see why their activity levels would be any higher. That said, we know that wild dogs are a lot more active. And, well, they do sleep a lot, but not nearly as much as the cats. I think it's because they're able to eat a lot more often. And now the morning starts to calm as the temperature starts to build. We're probably sitting at about 24 degrees Celsius now. And in the background we can hear a couple of magpie shrikes going pss, 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 pss. And Rain, you want to know if they would take on something much bigger than themselves? No, they wouldn't. The limit is probably a baby wildebeest out here. They might try a baby zebra if it was separated from the herd, but the herd will turn on them and these guys will skedaddle in the face of a zebra attack. Right, on that note, let's go and have a look at Brent. He's got some far more active primates to look at.
And here we have the vervet monkey. Looking up at the friends in the tree. So they've just come from a drink at... Oh, quickly, Jean in front of me. Slender mongoose. That's not something we get too often. Yes! Look at that. Look at him go. Nice, Jean. Now, that is not a little predator we get on camera too often. The slender mongoose. You can see that black tip to the tail. Off he goes, feeling a little bit exposed. Nice, Jean. I think that's the first slender mongoose. No, I've had slender mongoose with you before, yes. But now, the monkey, fortunately for us, did not run away, even after we got overly excited by a small predator. Now, of course, a monkey is also a predator, but an omnivore. So it eats leaves, fruits, birds, eggs, lizards, and it will eat carrion if it can scavenge some. One thing I always like about vervet monkeys is they always look guilty. Like they've just done something wrong or they're about to. I'm just going to move a little bit to get some more monkey action in the tree.
Got one here.
You got one? Oh, there he is. Look at us. Oh, off he goes. I'm just going to get us a little bit further from the tree. So Jean-Andre's got a little bit more wiggle room with the camera, because otherwise we can't tilt that high. Unfortunately, the sun's in a very awkward spot for us. You got them there. Forward a bit, to be honest. I know, he's coming to look at us. So, a juvenile.
Which one do you got?
There we go. Yeah, he's literally come to the edge and if you move, now if you look at the monkey, there he is, and he looks at us. Now if I emulate his behavior, they generally do it straight back at you. See, if you move your head, there we go. So when you see a move like that, I'm doing the exact same thing. And monkeys will often do that. It's actually a very important little response that monkeys do. So if they spot something off in the grass somewhere, they try and move like that to make a leopard or lion look at them so they can guarantee that it is a predator. At the moment he's eating some nice fresh shoots of the jackalberry that's disappearing. I get some more over there. You can just see them jumping around. And if we go a little bit to there we go, there he is. Oh, no, shy. Very shy monkey. So, what the monkey was doing, and I was doing it to him, so he emulated as you go like this. So monkeys often do that. If they're trying to spot a leopard, they'll look down into the grass and go, oh, Jandre spotted something. Oh. Incredibly agile little creatures. I'm sorry if I affect Jandre's camera work, it's me moving to try and make the monkey come look at us. There we go. So they often do that very, very quick head movement when they're looking at something, and by moving, they're trying to encourage whatever they're looking at to move, so to give away what it definitely is. And they have incredible eyesight, and definitely one of our biggest allies when it comes to finding big cats. They've got incredible eyesight. They sit at the top of trees. They can spot things from often very far away. And then we have that very distinct oh, but enough of this monkey business. Let's go back to James, who's got some mobile cheetah.
So there is a bit of movement here, everybody. And like I suspected, I think they will do this sort of thing. They're marking territory now, and I think they'll move just a little bit during the course of the day. They'll lie down, snooze for a while, move a bit, lie down, snooze for a while, and then move a bit again. Maybe he was just relieving himself, David, and unlike the lions, is not prepared to do it right where he sleeps. Oh, and the breakfast bird is calling, the chin spot batis. Wonderfully peaceful morning now. From the eerie expectation of the mist to this complete sort of breathing out, exhaling of the earth, and intermittent, of course, grumbling from David's stomach. David, you must eat more dinner in the evenings if you're going to be so ravenous come the morning. Margaret, you want to know if one would make a kill, if there will, if one will kill and the other will just sort of share it. No, they both kill, and they are able to take down bigger prey as a coalition than they are as just one of them, which is quite interesting. And I find it fascinating that that only the males are social, that the females are not, and that I suspect that's got a lot to do with the actual protection of youngsters, preventing infanticide, looking after a territory, far more than it has to do with actual prey availability or, taking down bigger prey, because a female can handle looking after youngsters very easily. 4 of them, and she'll manage to hunt on her own very successfully. Just going to quickly give an update on the radio. Stations I'm copying only those stations within sort of 400 meters of me. These 2 male cheetah are still static on the firebreak. Visual is about 4 out of 5, but they are static. What a wonderful morning we've had. Lions in the mist, cheetahs in the sun, and spiders in the dew. Sometimes one does just feel that all is right with the world. You know, the last 2 times I've come to Cheetah Plains, I've seen 1 impala and 1 terrified steenbok, and that's been about it. Now we didn't know where to stop. There were kudu, there were bits and pieces of nyala herds knocking about the place, there were elephants, and of course these 2 fantastic cheetah. The one last thing I want to tell you about them, and I always find it so amazing, is that if you've got a house cat or a dog, if you watch them lie down, they can't lie like these cheetah can. They can lift their heads like that briefly and then they put them down again. But a cheetah is adapted to being able to lie completely flat like that and lift the head and rest with the head at that kind of 90-degree angle. Now I challenge you to try and lie comfortably at that angle. Lie on your side and then lift your head up 90 degrees and see how comfortable that feels. A cheetah has a special adaptation to be able to lie like that. I think there's greater flexibility in the neck and certainly muscles that allow it to rest in that position where it's not deeply painful and inflaming on the joints for them to lie with the head at that very strange angle. There's one last thing also, Davey. What is that coming this way? All right, I'm just going to discover what's coming across the clearings. Let's head back to Brent and see what he has to show us.
So from one clearing to another, we're on quarantine, but it is coming towards the end of the summer Araya Safari. It's been wonderful having you with us. Jandra and I are going to bid you adieu and let you go back to James. And there's a glorious Shikankanka.
So there are not the cheetah, of course. Those are some wildebeest. There are some wildebeest, and they are coming across the clearings here. That's interesting. And I wonder if those cheetah won't become slightly animated by that situation during the course of the day. Those are the plains of Mala Mala. I suspect, however, like we were discussing, these chaps are so very full that they won't be doing anything for the rest of the day. But just notice here that they have come into the woodland. They don't lie in clearings. They won't, I think it's unlikely if they can avoid it that they're going to lie sort of on an exposed bush in the clearing, if they can be on the fringing vegetation. And I think for many of the years that I've been a guide, I've looked for cheetah in much the wrong places. I see a clearing and you look for them sort of stalking the middle of the clearing, which makes absolutely no sense at all. I'm going to mark territory again. Now, we were asked about tree climbing in cheetah, and you know, they could actually climb a tree sort of like that. As long as it's got a bit of slope on it, they can tend to get up to the top if there's a flat branch for them to get into. So you do see them quite high up in trees, but they won't lie in trees in the same way that a leopard will. Very, very rarely. I say, I'm kind of qualifying everything I say because I know that Brent had a sighting of cheetah where he was saying exactly what I would have been saying, and a cheetah promptly got up into a tree and lay down like a leopard. And until I heard that, I would have said that it just was simply not possible. He's now sniffing where his brother has marked, and I think he will do the same. No, he didn't. That's interesting. Hello, Cat in Tampa. You said that you were so happy to see me this morning because you thought I was on leave already. Well, Cat, you know, I decided to spend a few days with me old pal Brent Leo Smith to catch up and see what his life has been like with needles stuck in most of the way into his leg. And so I'm going to be heading off tomorrow morning for my leave down in the Eastern Cape with me old mum and me dad. All right, everybody, we've got half a minute left of these great cats. I think they're going to go south into Mala Mala. Thank you very much, David, for your efforts today. A big thank you to Gendre and Brent on the other vehicle, of course, and I'm so glad Brent found Gendre some shampoo to use. A big thanks to Louise in the final control and Kirsten ably assisting her. Mostly to all of you. Wonderful discussion and comment we've had over these great cats that we've seen. We'll see you this afternoon at 1500 hours. Until then, bye-bye.